In this video, I'm going to be going over 3 different categories that new router users have a tendency to struggle with. Hopefully the methods that you will see in this video will help you make each one of these tasks a little bit easier. The first topic that I want to cover deals with router direction. This is probably one of the most common mistakes that I see beginner woodworkers make, and it's probably because they don't truly understand the best way to go about deciding direction. And it's really quite simple. We're going to talk about that. What I have here in front of me is portraying, let's say, a picture frame. You'll see that there's an outer edge, and in this case, there would be an inner edge. Now, the direction that I use the router to establish an edge profile on either the outside edge or the inside edge is going to be different. And the reason why it's important is because if you're utilizing the router in the wrong way, it can lead to some serious consequences. Now, how do we determine what's the correct way? It's really quite simple. All you need to do is take your right hand and make an L shape. Then you can take that, and I know that my thumb is over the material and I'm going in the direction that I need to use the router. On an exterior edge, this would be the direction that I'm using the router, specifically counterclockwise. But now if I was to turn this, and now I needed to do the interior edge, we would take that same method and same mentality and place it here with my thumb over the material and the finger pointing in the direction which I need to use the router. And in this case, it is going to be a clockwise motion. Now, a common thing that I see is that people assume, okay, I'm using it in one direction on the exterior portion, now I'm doing an interior cut, I'm going to use it in the same direction. And that is not right. And a lot of times you will not only get more inconsistent results on the edge profile, but it can lead to what's called a climb cut, which can be very dangerous. So we always want to be working against the material to make sure that we have a nice, smooth operation as we are going around the material, and we have the most control, and it's going to give us the most consistent results. The second topic I want to talk about is setting the depth for the cut on your router. This is, again, something that I see a lot of people struggling with, and they make it a lot more challenging than it truly is. So I'm going to go ahead and bring you in and show you close up exactly how to do that. Now, there are a couple of different very simple ways to do it. I'm going to show you the traditional way, which is as easy as we need to depress down our router. And what we're looking for is we want the router bit to be touching the surface of the material. We're not focused on any of these turrets that you see here that I can still spin freely. I'm going to lock down my router. I just talked about the turrets. I'm going to go to the low turret point here. Next, we will unlock our plunge rod and let that fall down to our turret. Then we're going to take this lever right here and zero it out. So you will see that it currently says 0. So right now we are completely zeroed out. So in this instance, let's say that we need to go to a depth of 1/4 of an inch. Using this graduated scale here, I can simply raise this up. I can then lock down my measurement, and now I know that I have an additional 1/4 inch of travel once I plunge into the material. Let's go ahead and do the same exact thing we did in plunging it down to the table. So now I am zeroed. We don't even care about this. Let's lower down our plunge rod. And now I can take a known thickness. In this case, this is an 8mm domino. So all I have to do is raise this up, and I'll turn the router sideways, place it in there like that. I now know that I'm going that exact thickness. This works with anything that you know the thickness, whether it's 1/4 of an inch, 8mm, 6mm. Now I know that I will plunge exactly this depth, and we no longer have to worry about any of the measurements on here. Now, the benefit to doing it with a known thickness is if I'm trying to use my vision and adjusting this by hand, there is a chance that I may not be exact, as where if I'm actually using the material itself, it works very well. Let's do that again. Very quickly, we're going to plunge down, lock, raise up, place our known material in there, lock it down, and now I know that I'm going to plunge 8mm. Now, the final thing that I want to talk about is the use of accessories and how they truly can make not only using the router more enjoyable, but actually a lot safer and a lot more accurate. Now, one of the biggest benefits to the Festool line of routers is their amazing selection of accessories for all of their routers. Ranging anywhere from things like this that snap into the bottom of the router, a chip deflector, which actually greatly increases the dust extraction on the tool, making it much cleaner to use. Even going with something like this, which is an edge guide that gives you total accuracy, referencing off the edge of material. If you're doing rabbets, if you're doing grooves, if you're doing dados, you can do the same thing over and over again, repeatable with something like this. There are other accessories such as the LR32 system that pair very well with some of the Festool routers that allow you the ability to do not only shelf pin holes, but also pre-boring for hinge locations and cabinetry. And then what has to be one of my favorite accessories from Festool, that is the guide stop that gives you the ability to be incredibly accurate and go in perfectly straight lines, whether it's a full dado, a full groove, or mortise and tenon. I can actually reference off of my track utilizing this accessory, therefore giving me accuracy over and over and over again. Now, the reason why I wanted to bring up accessories as part of this video when it comes to a router is because a couple of reasons. I actually think that a lot of people don't know that a lot of these accessories exist for routers, but more importantly, I just see a lot of people that are doing something a very difficult, challenging way that is very hard to replicate and do the same thing over and over again. And that is where accessories make utilizing that tool much easier. So in summary, we talked about how to determine the proper direction when using your router. We talked about a couple of different ways to set the plunge depth very quickly and very easily, which hopefully takes out any mystery that you might have. And finally, we went over the benefit to utilizing accessories for the router system and how they can make whatever task you're doing more effective, more efficient, and more accurate. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.